Our first weekend with the Secluded Glen Pocket's latest expansion is behind us, meaning we have a bunch of tournament results to dig through for sweet new deck lists that spike deep runs. Today, we're going to dive on into breaking down all of the most interesting deck lists featuring cards from our latest expansion that found success. Let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? We kick things off today with a Raikou Zeraora Lightning deck list. The idea here is relatively straightforward. You get Raikou up into your active spot with X speed in case you start on a different basic. You can start drawing cards with Legendary Pulse, and then Zeraora's Pokemon ability alongside Elemental Switch lets you start attacking with Voltaic Bullet ASAP. This particular deck list went 6-2 in one of our community tournaments, and I really like the inclusion of our EX Pikachu that can Thunderbolt for 150 points of damage as a nice clean finisher. When you use this in tandem with the Voltaic Bullet letting you snipe at your opponent's bench Pokemon alongside Cyrus, you can even clean out your opponent's big finisher before it has a chance to get involved in the fight. This wasn't the only Raikou deck list that put up results, though. There were actually a handful of people that did well with Magnezone variations, playing kind of a similar idea. They're a little bit less all in on the Raikou lead, since Magnezone with Magneton powering it up can be a fine lead Pokemon as well. There's still one elemental switch here, since you can bump Magneton's energy up to Raikou to start that way, but this deck list can also go 1-1-2, especially with Oricorio in the mix as well. I was honestly really surprised how low a lot of people seem to be on Raikou looking at all three of the legendary beasts. I think all three of the Pokemon, Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, are very powerful abilities, drawing cards every turn. And I think a lot of people were really undervaluing Voltaic Bullet's utility alongside Cyrus in the metagame to let you dictate the terms of engagement inside of the battles that you're playing. Darkrai has found itself an unlikely new green companion in Jumpluff EX. The Breeze by attack in tandem with low retreat cost Pokemon like Zangoose and Shaman means that you can kind of have your cake and eat it too when it comes to an aggressive EX Pokemon. You get Jumpluff up in the active spot, you crack your opponent for 70, and then you move into a one-pointer, letting you follow that 1-1-2 prize mapping template. Zangoose having only a retreat cost of 1 in tandem with Sky Shaman's Sky support ability means that you don't need to spend energy retreating every turn, so you can be attaching your extra dark energy every turn to Darkrai. Darkrai also give this deck list a pretty reasonable backup plan as well. You're not all in on the Jumpluff, so if your stage 2 3-card combo doesn't come together, you can just charge up Darkrai and win the game that way. Because Zangoose and Sky Shaman also only need colorless energy to attack, they also give your deck list this really organic answer to opposing copies of Oricorio that, alongside Darkrai chip shots, can be fairly easy to clear out here. This core actually had a few results in our first weekend of community tournaments, the best of which being 7-3. Poliwrath EX managed to get on the scoreboard in one of our weekend tournaments as well. This mono fighting energy in its Energy Zone deck is leveraging Manatike as a way to not only get to Poliwrath EX's Hydro Knuckle ahead of time, but also lets you stack 40 extra damage on it. When we use this in tandem with Lucario, this means we get up to 160 in a single crack, letting you clear out even a Darkrai with a cape on it in one go. Lucario, in addition to charging up your Poliwrath, also gives you this very clean organic answer to opposing copies of Oricorio, which I know a lot of folks always care about. This particular deck list went 8-3 in the community tournament that it was played in. Altaria is an incredibly competitively statted 1-point Pokemon, with its Dragon Arcana always doing 40 damage for 2 energy, but if you have 2 different energy types on it, it does an additional 60, letting you crack for 100 for 2 on 120 HP stage 1. This deck list is playing Lightning, Water, and Fire energy along with one of each of the babies to let Altaria hit with this consistently, and it's playing Lugia EX as a big finisher if you can organically get all 3 of those energy in the right combination. I like that this deck list has Altaria as its first attacker, though, because this means even if you have to give up 1 knockout point to one of your babies, your Altaria can come up, and then you still have time to finish on Lugia if Altaria's aggressive 100-point hits aren't going to be enough to close the game out. This particular deck list went 9-2 in the tournament that it was played in. A second Altaria variation that found success this weekend was playing Silvally as its other attacker. This is another very aggressively slanted one-pointer that can crack for 100 damage for 2 points of energy. That also doesn't mind you playing lots of different colors for Altaria. This deck list has Manatike and Magby as its baby accelerators in it, and I would wager you want your energy zone to be any 3 energy that aren't fire or water to maximize your chance of Altaria having both types it needs to be attacking every single game ASAP. This particular deck list went 7-3 in the tournament that it was played in. Next up, we have a whole host of different Suicune deck lists. This one predictably being the most powerful of our legendary beast trio. The Crystal Waltz attack hits for 60 if your bench is full, and it can scale up to as much as 120 for just 2 energy on this basic EX if your opponent fills their bench as well. Greninja continues to be one of the best cards from Genetic Apex, allowing you to hit even higher breakpoints with your Suicune. And we have a Giratina EX, so you can kind of just do Greninja Giratina things in the games where Suicune either isn't there or isn't enough to blast through on its own. This particular deck list went 9-1 in the tournament that it was played in, but this archetype has definitely taken the metagame by storm and has been played to success by tons of different people in just our first weekend of tournaments. Our next Suicune list finding success is this Gyarados variation that went 5-3. It's got some interesting splits here that I think will probably be cleaned up a little bit as we get more experience in the metagame, specifically Mana Tyke and Mana Fee, as opposed to 2 of one and none of the other. The Gyarados split could be one that I could see sticking around. Baby Gyarados gives you a clean answer to opposing Oricorios, while Big Gyarados pays you off for having lots of energy built up over the course of the game. Silvally Suicune, while not nearly as popular as Greninja Suicune, was the second most deck list to appear playing this legendary beast. I'll be curious to see if this one has staying power because I think it feels a little bit clunky. The Suicune legendary beast pulse ability in particular is one that encourages you to want to get up to the front ASAP, while Silvally is an aggressively slanted card that wants to be doing the same. Manatite can allow either of these Pokemon to attack on the second turn of the game when going first, so perhaps this is just a deck list that enjoys having a range of things that can hit for 2 consistently, so in the games where Silvally doesn't show up, or vice versa with Suicune, you're still hitting for a lot of damage early on. This particular deck list was the most successful of the variations played of this, and it went 8-3 in the tournament that it was featured in. Next up, we have a deck list after my own heart here with Suicune Wugtrio EX featuring Manatike as a way to accelerate for you. Manatike, while going second with Wugtrio, means that you can pop throughout on the second turn of the game, putting up 150 damage in a way that's going to be difficult for a lot of things to keep up with, while Suicune likes Manatike while going first, since you can start hitting with its Crystal Waltz when you attach your first energy from the zone. Baby Suicune is here as a clean answer to Oricorio, I would wager, and because everything is water-based here, we have a couple of copies of Irida to give you some sustaining power as well. This particular deck list went 6-3 in the tournament that it was played in. This deck list honestly has a similar idea to the Wugtrio one, only instead of Wugtrio giving variance across your opponent's entire board, we have Origin Form Palkia giving you variance in the damage you're dealing in the lead. That Manatike allowing you to attack with Suicune when going first quickly, or Palkia when going second quickly is nice. The one upside to this particular build in my mind is the fact that if your Manatike goes down early, your Origin Form Palkia is a 1-pointer, allowing you to do that 1-1-2 prize mapping that these decks leveraging babies really enjoy. This particular deck list went 4-1 in the single elimination community tournament that it was played in. Our last Suicune deck list today is actually featuring one of the legendary beasts with Palkia EX as its other primary attacker. We have 2 copies of Feebas into Maloctic here, whose healing ripples give you a lot of sustain, especially alongside things like Giant Cape and Irida, helping out even more. A notable timing window thing is the leap out ability on Feebas. If you put Suicune up into the active after using this attack, means you're still going to trigger that legendary pulse at the end of the turn, allowing you to get the cards flowing. I could see Feebas being worth exploring with Suicune in general because of this interaction, allowing you to get this Suicune into the lead active spot without depending on something like Leaf, while Meloctic in behind can Healing Ripples to support that Suicune after the fact. This particular deck list went 5-3 in the tournament that it was played in. Our last two deck lists today aren't explicitly featuring any new cards from the Secluded Glen, but new cards can bring shifts with it in the metagame that can allow older cards to potentially shine. So I like to call out deck lists that weren't in the metagame last season that popped up in this first weekend as well. We kick things off with an almost all-in Guzzlord deck here featuring a Celesteela as its third basic. Will, notably as a supporter with Grindcore, can let you guaranteed take at least one energy off your opponent's Pokemon. And Lusamine means that despite Guzzlord EX having such a high energy cost to attack with Tyrannical Hole, you can realistically be attacking with two Guzzlords over the course of the game. Celesteela can give you a little bit of bob and weave with its Ultra Thrusters, while its Moonbaton also offers you a coin flip to clear out opposing copies of Oricorio in a single go. This particular deck list went 6-1 in the community tournament that it was played in. Speaking of Will, we had an Alolan Executor Leafeon mashup make a 5-2 run in one of our community tournaments. This deck list is relatively straightforward. You get to go ahead and get your big hit attackers geared up, and they can have extra sustain with Leaf Cape and Erica, and then Will can give you a guaranteed Tropical Hammer hit, hitting for a massive 150 damage on a single knockout point Pokemon in one turn. Last but certainly not least, we had a sweet relay deck list put up a 4-2 finish in one of our community tournaments in this first weekend. If you're looking for a sweet and cheeky all single knockout point deck list, this might just be the one for you to run up the ladder with back to Master Ball. Unfortunately for the Entei enjoyers out there, while there were copies of that card registered in a number of our community tournaments, none of them made particularly deep runs. I personally have enjoyed things like Infernape Entei, but I would love to hear in the comments down below what Entei deck lists you've been finding success with, if any, that we should consider to see if they can break out at a future tournament. If you want to see a number of these deck lists in action, you want to make sure you subscribe to this channel on YouTube. We'll have edited deck highlights up over the course of the next week or so of the best ones. And if you want to see me try and likely fail with some of them as well, make sure you're tuning into my live streams. We'll be testing all sorts of different things as I fumble my way back to Master Ball, playing lots of different off-meta decks. As always, if you enjoyed my roundup today, I'd encourage you to smash that like button. I appreciate everybody that made it all the way through to the end of the video, and I hope your next pack is an excellent one.